I'm Vitali, anthropologist, and today I'm also a tour guide guy in Riga.
And what's your ethnicity?
I'm Russian.
Yeah, we need to go into that. So you're born in Latvia, raised here, but you're ethnically Russian.
Yeah, you're bordering Russia. Historically, it was always a border territory, and a border territory is a territory of mixture of different people, of different cultures. So same here in Latvia.
And that goes back to what you were saying earlier about the mother language, the mother.
Also that. So, but I studied also in Latvian school, like for ethnical Latvians. So also kindergarten for ethnical Latvians. And only ethnical Latvian in that kindergarten group. So, but teachers were Latvian, so okay. There is no problem with Latvian language from very early age of me.
I know you're an anthropologist, and I ask everybody this because you get varied responses, but what does ethnicity mean to you?
I was thinking what I'm going to tell you about because I've listened to this podcast before, and I have no answer because it's very, like, it depends on your perspective. Like from my perspective, from my experience, it's about the language nowadays. Because in the modern society, it's hard to manifestate yourself, your ethnicity through some ethnically traced accessories, but it actually doesn't say you're ethnically belonging to that culture.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. There's like being able to appreciate a culture, but then I like what you say about language, that it makes you become more culturally identified or ethnically identified through that language.
Yeah, and when people hear you, they know who you are here in Latvia as well. Like there are some people that speaks perfectly with no accent. And it's hard to know when the people are Latvians or Russians or they're foreigners.
So then for you, for your ethnic background, what makes you feel Russian even though you live in Latvia?
So food here in Latvia and also in Estonia is the Soviet cuisine mostly. Sorry, Latvians. Yeah. Of course, they will say like sklandrausis or the great peas are very typical and unique Latvian. No, that's a bullshit. Because like I love this example with the great peas, which is now the protected food. Yeah, but it's also the typical food for the north of the Germany, in Schleswig. And when you see the articles, Latvian article in Wikipedia, for example, it's written by Latvian people.
Yeah.
And the same translation for these articles of the great peas is in English, in other language, but German article were written by German people, and there is no single word about the Latvian legacy of this food.
Oh, wow.
Because they have their own legacy of this food. Also, sklandrausis, it's not unique for Latvia.
Yeah.
It's some strange cake from the carrots. Yeah, but it's actually the origin of this food is Jewish. Like you can try it in Lido, which is the mixture of the Soviet cuisine and the modern cuisine.
It's like globalization, but at a regional level, where it's kind of like
Yes, you're correct.
Okay.
So this we're crossing the city channel, and it was part of the fortifications.
Wow.
It used to be 3 times wider.
Really?
Yeah, and there were city fortification. You can see some remains of the military buildings, like the caserns, and this used to be the citadel part of the city. So we had a lot of historical periods of different kind of foreign rules,
German, Swedish, Russian,
Poles,
Lithuanian,
Latvian, and Estonian independence. Sorry for that. People were proclaimed during the German occupation of this territory during the First World War.
So with all the like German impact that was left, is that just been like kind of absorbed into Latvian culture? I understand like this is.
It used to be like we were mostly the state that used to be close to Germany, and it was hard. It was complicated to push Germans, but actually Latvians were doing the same as they are doing now with Russians, because still it was an independent states, and like it's also my interpretation.
Yes.
Like it's not official interpretation, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm Russian. Somehow I feel a bit oppressed by Latvians. So
And does that like make you feel almost like a minority, if you will?
I am minority, of course. Like Russians are minority here. Like it's not a question.
Yeah.
But I understand that Latvians have right to have their own political representatives. I think it could be organized a bit different because actually when we joined European Union, the progressively thinking Russians here thought like European Union will be, you know, the mediator between this national state and some rules that will be equal for every people. But at the very end, European Union doesn't give a fuck, sorry for that, about the some problems with the minorities in every state. Like you can see it not only in Baltics, you can see it in Spain, when where the national movements have some perspectives, like the Catalonia and so on.
It's fascinating to hear like just the deeper side, because in America we get our World War I, World War II, European history. It's like a few chapters in our book and then we move past it. What I like about this is that I'm interested in just the people, less of the politics. So, you know, I'm sure some people hear like, oh, a Russian saying he feels like a minority would be weird to some people to think, but it makes sense if you leave what you consider your home community or ethnicity, you live somewhere else and you become a minority.
You know, it's very complicated with Russians because, for example, the Volksdeutsche, the people with the German legacy from the Soviet Union, when the Soviet Union just collapsed, they understood that there are no perspectives even in the Russia, for example, or Kazakhstan, and they moved to the Germany and they understood that they are not Germans.
Yeah.
Until nowadays, like there is this specific Volksdeutsche, like the German ethnically German people that actually lives in Germany with the Russian legacy that feel themselves non-Germans in the Germany nowadays, and it's very tricky because the local Germans are thinking they're not real Germans. They are Russians.
Yeah.
So it's very tricky, you know, because the Latvian ethnic culture is based on the adoration of the nature. It's about the peasant life.
Yeah.
It's about the countryside. Like you can see it in the ethnographic material. You can also find some ethnographic material about Riga, but when you look deeper, you can see it. Like Riga is something strange to Latvian peasant because he understand himself that newcomer to here.
Is that similar or different for Russians?
I believe it's different because somehow the peasant culture in contemporary Russia doesn't exist anymore. Somehow, like it's the tragedy of 20th century. Somehow, Russians lost their sense of this peasant culture.
Do you feel like it's like losing a little bit of like the identity of being Russian by being more modern?
It's not about actually modernity. Nowadays, like you can have education also in countryside thanks to internet and modern technologies. But the different lifestyle, because somehow you see the ethnical differences and you can feel it in the countryside. It's more visible than in city. City is it's a place where your identity is not that visible. In the countryside, it's not like that because everyone knows everyone, and this way of lifestyle, the reproduction of this lifestyle is different from the city.
This is super insightful. Thank you.
My English, it's very different every day.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works. Some days I speak better, some days no.
Hey. Same with me. It's fine. I think we're all like that.